Jonathan Kozol's Rachel and Her Children has left a profound impact on the American conscience since its publication in 1988. Known for his sharp insights into class struggles, race, poverty, and education, Kozol draws from his first-hand experiences of living among the homeless for months to create a powerful narrative. As an advocate for the underprivileged, he offers readers a close-up view of the lives of men, women, and children crowding into homeless shelters across the U.S. Throughout the book, Kozol critiques the bureaucratic systems that push people onto the streets and reveals the widespread indifference to their plight. Many of these individuals find themselves in dire situations beyond their control, unable to maintain independent housing for themselves or their families. Kozol argues that the root of the crisis lies in the scarcity of affordable housing, especially for low-income individuals. He details the devastating effects of homelessness, which threatens to ruin not only the lives of adults but also children, now the fastest-growing segment of the homeless population. Challenging common stereotypes, Kozol refutes the notion that the homeless are primarily drug addicts, alcoholics, or mentally ill. Instead, he presents evidence that homelessness is increasingly affecting families, many of whom have lost their homes after major personal or financial disasters. Focusing on the New York City shelter system, Kozol highlights the daily misery these families endure. He points to the policy of deterrence, which aims to discourage people from seeking assistance by making the process of getting help unbearable. This leads many to avoid shelters by staying with friends or relatives, or cramming into overcrowded homes. Eventually, however, most overstay their welcome and turn to welfare centers, only to be shuffled into emergency shelters, barracks, or hotels. Kozol exposes the endless cycle of temporary housing, where families are moved from one unstable situation to another. In this process, parents often lose their jobs, spending much of their time navigating the broken system in a desperate attempt to secure permanent housing. Kozol also highlights alarming instances where pregnant women and sick children were sent to unsafe shelters or even denied shelter, in direct violation of state regulations. After extended stays in the shelter system, some families are moved to long-term hotels, where they are allowed 28-day housing. Many of Kozol's interactions with the homeless take place in such hotels, like the Martinique, where families are crammed into rooms often infested with vermin. The living conditions are bleak, plagued by rampant drug use and prostitution. In addition to these dismal environments, families are subjected to policies that make their daily lives even more difficult. For example, if a father stays with his family, they receive less financial aid, leading some fathers to live separately and sneak visits to see their own wives and children. Families are also pressured to search for permanent housing, despite the severe shortage of affordable units. This process is emotionally and physically draining, with parents forced to drag their children to housing viewings or rely on relatives for childcare. The regulations governing shelter life further complicate survival. In long-term hotels, families are often forbidden from cooking in their rooms, but the food stipend they receive is so inadequate that many resort to smuggling in hot plates, risking eviction. The book's title character, Rachel, shares how her children would beg for bread and bologna in the square, desperate for anything to fill their stomachs. Hunger drives many to desperate acts like prostitution, doing whatever they must to survive. The psychological toll of this life is profound. Kozol illustrates this through Laura, another woman he meets, who has been pleading with the hotel owner to make critical repairs to her room. Living in unsafe conditions with her 4 children, Laura is forced to survive on a meager diet of bread, cheese, and peanut butter. Kozol's narrative underscores how the relentless challenges of homelessness can break even the strongest of spirits. He warns that an entire generation of children is at risk of growing up malnourished, uneducated, and unemployable if they survive long enough to reach adulthood. I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you did, and be sure to subscribe. Thank you.